Most people think buying in Redondo Beach is about finding the nicest house near the water, but that's usually not where they get it wrong. Where they get it wrong is the neighborhood, because in Redondo Beach, two homes can be the same price, look just as good online, and still give you two completely different lives once you move in. One neighborhood makes everyday life feel easy. Another can make parking, school runs, noise, and the simple midweek routines feel way more stressful than they need to be. And the tricky part is, you usually don't feel that when you're touring the house. You feel it after you close. So in this video, I'm going to show you which parts of Redondo Beach feel calm, which feels energetic, which one works better for families, and which one can look great on a listing but wear on you in real life. Because if you choose the wrong part of Redondo Beach, it's not your weekend that suffers, it's your Tuesday. So as you watch, start noticing which pocket sounds most like your version of a good week. And if you want help narrowing that down for your own move, reach out. My contact information will be in the description below. I'm Hernandez, your personal real estate advisor, and one thing you should know is that Redondo Beach is not one single coastal experience. It's a patchwork of micro neighborhoods, and each one asks for a different tolerance for noise, structure, and unpredictability. So as promised, here's the quick way to decide if this side of town fits your week. You have to match your family's baseline stress level to the neighborhood's built-in rhythms. Stop looking only at generic school ratings and start paying attention to the preferential parking signs and street sweeping schedules. And that changes how every day feels like. Let's start with the quieter, more predictable parts of town. Imagine it's 8 in the morning on a Thursday. You're walking a quiet, alphabetized grid where the mature tree canopy softens the sound of the nearby PCH. You're pushing a stroller towards the Riviera Village Farmers Market while your neighbors pull out of an attached garage for a pretty predictable, low-stress school drop-off. This is the interior avenues of South Redondo and the deeply insulated TRW tract up north. This is where Redondo feels steady. Here, the real luxury is not the ocean view. It's the lack of logistical friction. The environment protects your bandwidth instead of draining it. The streets are built for a calm, steady rhythm where you bump into familiar faces on the local hardware store or the North Branch Library without feeling surrounded by tourists. The drive loop matters here because you can pull right into your garage without circling blocks looking for a spot. If you're moving here to raise kids, this grid offers a lot of predictability because it lets your children walk safely to local campuses like Adams Middle School without dealing with heavy arterial bottlenecks. If you already own here, you know the premium you paid was really for private driveway parking and the deep quiet that settles over the residential blocks the moment the sun goes down. At this point, you can probably already feel which version of Redondo fits you better. And that's the part most buyers miss. They search for bedroom count or school ratings, but the real decision is how you want life to feel once you live here. That's where I help people get clear. So if you want help narrowing your search and avoiding the wrong fit, reach out. But what if your family actually thrives on momentum rather than quiet? Let's shift to the inland support grid along the Artesia and Aviation Boulevard corridors. This area is the practical engine of Redondo Beach. It trades some of the classical coastal charm for an incredible density of youth programming, civic infrastructure, and transit efficiency. The pedestrian walk loop is basically not the point here. Instead, you operate on a highly efficient drive loop. You're surrounded by major community anchors like Aviation Park and the Redondo Beach Performance Arts Center. Your week is programmed, efficient, and built around keeping things moving. The South Bay Galleria and nearby commercial strips give you a strong lineup of practical dining and retail, so you don't have to cross city lines for normal life. You're trading lazy beach afternoons for structured sport leagues and intensive STEM classes. If you're moving here, you get the advantage of stacking a robotics club, a youth basketball league, and a quick grocery run into one afternoon without spending hours stuck on coastal roads. If you already own here, you probably use that efficiency to protect your work schedule while keeping your kids busy, enriched, and plugged into strong city programs. Now, if you want your neighborhood to feel more active and alive, you have to look north towards the pier, King Harbor, and the International Boardwalk. But before we get there, let's step away from the pavement for a minute and talk about the parts of Redondo that feel calmer and more restorative. Coastal living gets mistaken for wellness all the time, but a beachfront property right next to a crowded commercial pier can come with noise, parking stress, and tourist friction that quietly chips away at your rest. Real, sustainable calm usually comes from a mix of quiet and easy movement. That's exactly what what you find on the Esplanade Bluff overlooking Veterans Park. This elevated paved pathway gives you a sweeping movement loop with panoramic views, but without the same level of chaos you get down at the water level. You still get unobstructed sunset over the Pacific, just without the constant hum of commercial nightlife. Or you can look into inland to the Hopkins Wilderness Park pocket. This is a real anomaly in Southern California. It's an 11-acre preserved forest right in the middle of a dense coastal suburb. It has running streams, open meadows, and a mature tree canopy. It's also the only place in the South Bay where you can legally pitch a tent, fire up a gas barbecue, and have an overnight urban camping experience just minutes from your front door. If you're moving here, this hidden park can become your family's built-in reset, an easy way to step away from the screens and reconnect with nature without planning a whole trip. Of course, some people move to a beach city for the exact opposite reason. They want the energy, they want life happening around them. If that's you, a quiet residential neighborhood is probably going to feel too sleepy. You want a neighborhood that gives you easy access to spontaneous living. Welcome to the Pier, King Harbor, and the International Boardwalk. This is the undeniable epicenter of Redondo Beach energy. Your week here is shaped by a major seasonal calendar. You're stepping out of your front door to catch the free summer concert series over the water or the legendary 52nd annual Kites Festival. The Seaside Lagoon gives you a big enclosure saltwater space that sits somewhere between a standard pool and the open ocean. The energy is constant. You have morning paddleboarders launching quietly from the harbor, and then that same area shifts into a neon-lit evening where live music spills out of open-air venues like Nage's Place onto the waterfront. Or if you want that walkability but with a more polished, more controlled feel, you look to the Catalina corridor in the Riviera Village. Here, the Sunday Farmers Market pulls the whole neighborhood into the village center, creating a coastal routine built around coffee shops, boutique fitness studios, and local storefronts. If you're moving here with teenagers, this kind of high-energy environment gives them a sense of independence with safe, busy corridors to explore retail and boardwalk areas without needing you to drive them everywhere. If you already own here, you've probably made peace with the weekend parking friction because you genuinely love walking out of your front door and right into that vibrant coastal energy. But what if you want the beach-adjacent zip code without dealing with unpredictable crowds? What if you just really don't want a lot of logistical friction? Enter the Golden Hills in North Redondo. This pocket is known for its famous tall and skinny homes built on tight 25 by 100 foot lots. Because the original city planners left no rear alleys, the architecture had to build upwards. That creates a dense, unmistakable streetscape of two-car garages and multi-story living spaces. You're trading larger front yards for attainable interior square footage and a strong sense of control over your environment. There's no commercial spillover here. You get a real sense of order, knowing who belongs on your block and when the street sweeps happen. The residential streets stay dark, quiet, and predictable. The boundaries are clear. The rules are known. You decide when to engage with beach culture and you step away from it the second you've had enough. If you're moving here, you get a controlled, quiet environment that can work especially well for demanding careers or remote work while still staying buffered from the volatility of the waterfront. If you already own here, you may be focused less on beach life itself and more on the ability to reverse commute to inland job centers while avoiding a lot of the Pacific Coast Highway gridlock. Redondo Beach is not one thing waiting to be ranked on a generic best place to live list. It's a highly segmented place with multiple right answers depending on what your household actually needs in order to function well. It offers roots, momentum, calm, variety, or control. A family that really needs the quiet structure of an inland cul-de-sac is probably going to struggle if they accidentally buy into the high stimulus environment of the International Boardwalk. In the same way, a young professional who wants the spontaneous energy of a walkable village may feel boxed in by the deep quiet near the Wilderness Park boundary. You have to line your family's temperature with the hyper-local reality of these pockets, because in the end, your defaults shape the quality of your daily life. Pick the pocket that makes your defaults easier. If this video helped you think about Redondo Beach in a more honest, practical way, subscribe for more breakdowns like this. And when you're ready to stop browsing and start building a smart home search, reach out. This is exactly how I help buyers find the right fit from the start.